All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just had the 2024 Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne at Albert Park, which you can see is behind me here. And 58 lap race. This is here. Let me share this quick here. This is the starting grid. As you can see, remember, Perez did have a grid place drop from P3 to P6 for impeding Hulkenberg. I think I said Magnussen in my previous video, but it actually was Hulkenberg. Again, no Logan Sargent for Williams, only Albon. And in my last video, I'm thinking, Sainz after surgery, could he possibly finish this race, get on the podium, get into the top 5-10? Is he going to be too out of it, too much in pain, or whatever? Well, here's the deal. This was a great weekend for Ferrari, a great weekend for McLaren, a bad weekend for Red Bull, and a terrible weekend for Mercedes. And then just, you can see here, let me go, Joe, where is he down here? From the pit lane. He actually is starting from the pit lane. So let's go through the race. Let's see. Let's do a little pit stop summary. We don't have to go through all that. Race results. Well, guys, I was wrong. Not only did, Carlos Sainz finish the race, Ferrari goes 1-2. Ferrari goes 1-2 with it, which, is a shakeup from Red Bull's dominance, from their 1-2 dominance, Max's dominance. And where is Max Verstappen? Let's just go through the race. Now, something to start, they enabled DRS after lap 1. I thought it was after 2 laps. The rules in F1 are always changing and shifting. Rules like that. Major regulations don't, but rules like that often shift and move, and I literally can't keep track of them all. It's way too much information to keep track of unless you're involved in F1, on a daily basis, like, the commentators and stuff, and the people who, do F1 for their job. I don't know if it's Albert Park. I don't know if it's this track where it was enabled after lap 1, but I always thought it was after 2 laps, then you could have DRS. Okay, so lap 2 of the race, Sainz has a great overtake of Verstappen for P1, but it was after Verstappen seemed to lose his car a bit, and then on lap 3, my boy, Max, his brakes are on fire, literally on fire, and Verstappen has to retire, and there's smoke coming from his car. They thought it was the engine, but as actually, when he was coming into the pit lane to retire, there was an explosion. If you haven't seen it, watch it, because I've never seen anything like it, where there's black smoke coming out of, I think it was the rear right tire, and then an explosion of, like, it looked like soot from a fireplace, an explosion out from the tire. And my buddy Max Verstappen, the reigning champion, the number 1 car, had to retire for that reason. And then this gives Ferrari their first lead of the season. Basically, this gives Mercedes a chance to make up some ground, maybe try to get some points, get on the podium. However, like I said, it was not a great race for Mercedes. It was lap 17, I believe. Hamilton had an engine failure, causing a yellow flag and then a virtual safety car, and he had to retire from the race. And basically, at this point, Sainz had just a clear, huge lead, kind of like a Max Verstappen style, an old Lewis Hamilton style, where they just get out there in front, and they're 17, 18, 20 seconds ahead of whoever's in P2. Now, that doesn't last. The end of the race, the end of the race is the end of the race. It's not like they just coasted to victory. Well, everyone coasted to victory, because unfortunately, on the last lap of the race, George Russell was battling Fernando Alonso for P6. And on the last lap, lap 58, Russell crashes. It ends under a virtual safety car, but I don't think that would have changed the results at all. Ferrari had a clear 1-2 out front, followed by the McLarens. Now, a little Australian controversy here for Oscar Piastri, who is Australian. They did a driver swap. And where was that driver swap? Let me look at my notes. I got my notes here. You got to have notes. Lap 29, McLaren swaps positions, Norris over Piastri. And of course, we're going to see here, as you can see, who got on the podium. Lando Norris. And who is right behind him but the Australian Oscar Piastri. So there was a lot of papaya, which is the McLaren color, in the audience. Again, 450. So they actually said at that race, at that moment, there were 132,000 people. So obviously there's not 450,000 people all there at once. So I guess that's over the weekend. But in attendance for the race was 132,000, I think they said. So you had that driver swap there from McLaren, which eventually put Lando Norris on the podium in P3. All right, so again, Russell chasing Alonso for P6. Russell crashes out. Sainz was complaining of tires, so there was this drama. At the end of the race, because of different things, Ferrari had a clear lead, but Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri and even Leclerc over Sainz, they were close. It's not like in lap 58, Sainz was 20 seconds ahead, okay? There, maybe. I don't know. I still think it would have ended the way that it ended. I don't think this would have been different if Russell didn't crash out chasing Alonso. But, maybe. You never know, because Sainz was complaining of tires. Without that virtual safety car, maybe Leclerc could have jumped him. And that actually would have put Leclerc. Oh, so they were asking, if they swap Sainz and Leclerc, that would put Leclerc, I believe, over Verstappen in the championship. And would Ferrari do that? And Martin Brundle said, absolutely not. No, they're just going to do their thing. I mean, Sainz, 2 weeks ago, he had surgery. That's insane. And you know what else is insane? The commentators are like, well, the last time a driver went from a medical leave to a win right after was so-and-so from 1976. I'm like, how do you... where do they get this information from? Like, do they have just like pages that are like, sitting there typing in, oh, when was the last time this happened and that happened? They always have that information, because there are rather, decent, kind of like baseball, decent periods of time where they have to fill time and there's not a lot of action. So I guess they have time to look up these, weird stats and facts about when was the last time someone went from medical leave to their comeback race, them winning. And they said it. I don't remember. I didn't write it down. So Russell crash, virtual safety car. Again, Sainz, Leclerc, Norris, Piastri. Great weekend for Ferrari and McLaren. Perez coming in P5. They were talking about, without Max on the racetrack, how good is Perez? Well, he's still up there, still got some points. We're going to go over the standings here in a little bit. But, and again, Williams with only one car. And where did he end up? Down in 11th, right outside of the points. Well, that is what that is. And our good friend Gunther Steiner from Drive to Survive, the old Haas team principal, did the race interviews. And he is now doing German commentary for, I guess, a German TV station. And it was nice to see him back. A real character, a real star of the Drive to Survive. So Australia, hey, a nice change of pace from Red Bull's dominance. Obviously, I like Red Bull. I don't have a Ferrari hat to put on for today. I only have Max Verstappen hats. And I have a Valtteri Bottas hat that I got when I first started watching it. Because I liked Valtteri. I liked him a lot, and I like him even more now. He's just, just racing that bright green Kick Sauber car, soon to be an Audi car. And then, guys, there's a lot of questions here. I mean, Sainz is the only driver, non-Red Bull driver, to win a race in recent times. It's either been Verstappen, Perez, or Sainz. So where's he going to go? Where's Max going to go? Is he going to stick around? Is the drama going to, I said all this in my last video. There's next year, so they were talking about how you don't see as much shakeup in drivers because of the Drive to Survive. It's almost like they've become cast members of a show. And it's not like every couple seasons of Friends, they brought in new actors, or Seinfeld, or your favorite show, Big Bang Theory, right? It's almost like we have now not only athletes, but characters on a TV show. But I mean, maybe, I don't know. Do you guys really think that influences drivers leaving and going and coming and going? Maybe. I don't know. I've only been watching F1 since Drive to Survive. Okay. My whole experience in F1 is post Drive to Survive. So I don't know what it was like in the 90s. I wasn't watching Formula One as a little boy in the 90s. I just don't know. I'm not, I don't have that personal experience. Can I look it up? Sure. I could Google it. But next year, the landscape is going to be very different. If things go the way that, things are going. All right, so let's look at the drivers. All right, because of his DNF, Verstappen is still in the lead, but by a much smaller margin, followed by Leclerc and then Perez, who, again, very small margin, only 1 point, and then Sainz, and then Piastri, who's doing better than Lando, which I think is very interesting, only by 1 point, but still, and then Russell, Alonso, Stroll, Hamilton way down here with only 8 points. Tsunoda, I love that Ollie Bierman's going to have those 6 points. You never know what can happen. Maybe they'll bring him back up. Hulkenberg, never won a race, this guy. Magnussen, Albon, Zhou. Okay, now we got the goose eggs here, starting with Albon, Zhou, Ricciardo, Ocon, Gasly, Bottas, and Logan Sargent. Look at that green color for Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu. Kick Sauber. I don't even know what kick is. Do you guys know what kick is? I need to Google it. All right, so let's look at the teams. Again, the margin got much smaller now that Max DNF'd. So Red Bull followed by Ferrari, only a 4-point margin there. Then McLaren, then Mercedes. Big discrepancy down here. Mercedes falling way behind. Aston Martin. Racing Bulls, RB. I just want to say Red Bull. Again, the names. Pick a name. And then Haas with 4 points. The American team Haas. Williams, big goose egg. Look, they don't even have, look at that. They don't even have Logan Sargent there. Well, I'm sure he's going to be in the next race, right? Or no, I don't know. I guess he would be. That's kind of interesting, but they do have a big goose egg. And then Kick Sauber, and then Alpine, who is struggling like nobody's business this year. All right, guys. Well, that was the Australian Grand Prix for 2024. Pretty good race. Change of pace. Ferrari taking 1-2 place. McLaren. I like how McLaren is just kicking butt. They're just even. McLaren's just slow, just not a slow burn because they're fast. But another thing is the Mercedes were, when they were trying to catch up with Perez, they're like, this is a rocket ship. They're like, the Red Bull car is a rocket ship. It's just with Max going out, I think strategy and stuff got a little screwed up. But McLaren, they're just even keel, man. They're just doing their thing. Piastri out driving Norris, which is interesting to me, but they're just doing their thing. Guys, thank you so much for watching Talk F1 from the Michael Papinchak Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell, comment down below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.